I'm delighted to introduce my friend, Holocaust survivor, Eva Slonim. She is a remarkable and inspiring woman. Eva is a testament to the human capacity for the preservation of morality under the most extreme circumstances. From Eva, and indeed from many of our survivors here tonight, we can see the resilience and power of the human spirit. Eva has never wavered in her commitment to educate about the Holocaust and keep alive the memory of those who perished. Eva, can you please come and deliver your testimony?
Ladies and gentlemen, survivors and friends, tonight is the United Nations International Holocaust Memorial Day, 75 years after the liberation of Auschwitz. We survivors keep the memory alive every day of our lives, in our daily activities, in our sleep and slumber. For us survivors, it has been 75 years of coping, of reliving, of asking why, and why, finally, why me? Why did I survive? Riddled with guilt that I face every day. My dear friends, I stand here tonight knowing that it is incumbent on me, as one of the last witnesses to the Holocaust, to recount, to document, to bear witness, to perpetuate every facet of the greatest loss, suffering, and tragedy that befell the Jewish people. To this end, I want to express my gratitude and give recognition to the Holocaust Center and its volunteers for their outstanding dedication in keeping the memory alive, and to the second and third generations for fulfilling the perpetuating, dying wish of men, women, and children who with their last breath whispered, "Tell the world," whilst others expiated with the word Kaddish. It was so important to them. Tell the world, whilst others expiated with the word Kaddish. These holy skeletons on the threshold of death were concerned the effect this tragedy will have on future generations, knowing full well that they will not be part of that world. What generosity of spirit, what nobility. Sadly, there is a resurgence of anti-Semitism, as was just said, throughout Europe, as we have unfortunately witnessed in France, in Sweden, in Germany, England, Denmark, and even the USA. All this still in our lifetime. Still in our lifetime, revisionists are trying to rewrite history. In the documentary of the liberation of children in Auschwitz, in which I appear, the symbol of Jew was affixed on the left side of our specially given uniform. Jew was replaced with Polski by the Polish. What a distortion, what a lie, when Auschwitz unfortunately was primarily a Jewish tragedy, unprecedented in the annals of history. A sophisticated machinery set up for the sole purpose to annihilate in the most brutal and premeditated way the whole of European Jewry. My dear friends, allow me to share with you my experiences on the last days in Birkenau, prior to liberation 75 years ago. In the first days of January 1945, hard-pressed by the advancing Red Army, the SS hastily evacuated tens of thousands of Jewish prisoners under frightful conditions from Birkenau and Auschwitz to German labor camps. Their overriding principle and the cruel reality was that in spite of their imminent defeat, their foremost priority was that not a single man, woman, or child should live until liberation and tell the world of the inexhaustible fount of evil, the supposedly most cultured people inflicted on its innocent and unsuspecting victims. The rapidity of the Red Army's advance forced the SS to leave their tasks unfinished, and that is how I survived. On the 18th of January 1945, the SS ordered the whole camp to be evacuated. Rumors were that whoever remained in camp would be killed. Even though I was sick, I ran away from hospital and presented for selection. I did not pass the test. My will to live was so strong that in the overwhelming chaos, I went together with my sister to the back of the line and presented again. This time, we passed the selection for the march, which we believed would lead us to a path of freedom. I fought with all my might not to succumb, now when freedom was in my grasp. Yet I was so very weak, plagued by unrelenting dysentery and typhus, that I finally surrendered and returned to camp, fully aware of the fate that was awaiting me. We were locked in the barracks by the SS behind the electrified barbed wire fences. They then set the hospital on fire and surrounding barracks as well. The fire rapidly advanced in our direction. Can you imagine? A heavy downpour of snow miraculously extinguished the fire. Well, we thought somebody still looking after us. These snowflakes, it was snowing, and these snowflakes were the neshamot, that's what I imagined, neshamot, the souls, descending from heaven to save us. We now realized that the Germans had left and that we were on our own. Those that were well enough and able raided the food and clothes storages. Many died of overeating. A few days later, to our horror, the SS returned. We were ordered once again at gunpoint to line up to take us with them as they retreated. We were ordered to march, walk, run to the whim of the SS. Those who faltered or could not keep up were shot. My emotions were numbed as we walked in deep, blood-drenched snow at -7 degrees from Birkenau towards Auschwitz. We reached Auschwitz, which was 3 kilometers away, and saw hand-to-hand fighting between the Russians, who wore white camouflaged clothes, and the Germans. Suddenly, the fighting stopped. The Russians ordered the SS to line up and told us that we could do whatever we liked with them. You should have seen those big heroes, those that had no heart for us children, who were killing in cold blood, were now begging for mercy. Trembling with fear, those same soldiers who had no pity on us children begged us, as I've just said, that for mercy. Those cowards, no one touched them. So the war for us children was over. The adults and we children had managed to stay alive through hiding, humiliation, torture, depravity. Overwhelmed and speechless as we were, as were our liberators, obviously for different reasons. The freedom we had anticipated, for which we struggled so hard, was an illusion. Face to face with liberty, we felt lost, emptied, and perplexed. No one waited for us children. No parents, no brothers, sisters, grandparents. There were no celebrations. Instead, after medical examination, I was hospitalized. I was given blood transfusions and other treatment. I was back in bunks, surrounded by authority and uniform. The conditions in hospital were appalling. Patients were screaming, dying all over the place. Some violently, others resigned, too weak to protest. There was one Jewish prisoner from Bratislava, where I come from, a Mr. Frankel, who refused his bread portion as he claimed that it was Pesach. Shortly after some matzot reached Auschwitz, I grabbed a little piece of what I thought was matzah, and with great excitement ran as fast as I could, actually not as fast, to Mr. Frankel. I was too late for Mr. Frankel. He was cold and stiff, his eyes staring into the distance, no longer alive. In the children's barrack, we spoke every night of home, of food, of memories. Otherwise, we would not have survived. The torture we had to face the next day was horrific. We wrote a song in Hungarian for most of the twins we hung from Hungary to the tune of Hatikva. Loosely translated, it goes like this, with your permission. In this huge world of the camp, chased out of his barracks, the tired, sleepy, sluggish child, tears streaming down his face. Standing in the pouring rain, cold, shivering and drenched, for Zelapel, the unfortunate, stands hours in the cold. Be happy and rejoice, handsome Jewish worker. Soon all this will come to an end. The great day of liberation is approaching, and all the Jewish suffering will forever end. To our beautiful homes we will return, embrace our parents and all we have not seen for so long. Without that imagination, we couldn't have survived. There will be a table full of plenty at home, toys, dresses, dolls, sweets, and nothing will ever go wrong. Together once again we will stand tall as proud Jews and swear until death that we'll never deny that we are Jews. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva, for your heartfelt and searing testimony, which will be indelibly imprinted on our hearts and minds forever. I first heard Eva give her testimony in Auschwitz on Yom HaShoah, April 2004. And Eva, I know how difficult it was for you then and how extremely hard it was for you today to return to the place of your nightmares and give an eyewitness account of a 13-year-old girl who was in Auschwitz. Thank you so much for your bravery and for your courage. Thank you.